In the beginning of the drama, we see that on a freezing cold night, a man pushes Huan off the rooftop of a tall building. She is our female lead, which causes her death. But the media hides the truth of this incident. Everyone is told that her parents died in a car accident, and, unable to bear the grief, Huan took her own life. In the next scene, among broken and scattered memories, Huan finds herself in a locked room. Her hands and feet are tightly tied and a wet towel is placed on her face. Suddenly, out of fear, she wakes up from her sleep, but her panic does not end here. As soon as she gets up, she sees a strange man lying beside her. He is our male lead, Lan. Without wasting a single moment, she picks up a pen kept nearby, places it on his neck, and asks, "Who are you?" The man stays completely calm. He tells her that Huan was in a coma for more than 1 year, and right now she has the problem of temporary memory loss. He tells his name as Lin and says that Huan is his wife. After that, the truth slowly begins to come out. In reality, Mo Xiao was the one who pushed Huan off the rooftop because he wanted to marry the daughter of the Zhu family. When Lin found out about all this, he took on the identity of his elder brother, Mo Xiao, so that he could stay close to Huan. His real purpose was to ruin the arranged marriage between the two families and use that opportunity to complete his own plan. A little while later, Lin goes out of the room to take a phone call. As soon as he leaves, Huan quietly searches for information about herself on the internet. Whatever comes in front of her leaves her completely shocked. In the news, it is written that the chairman of the Lan He group and his wife have died in a car accident. Their only heir, Huan, had taken her own life, and now the entire Lan He group has come under the control of the Lin group. Meanwhile, when Lin comes back, Huan tells him that only photos and videos cannot be proof of any relationship because nowadays everything can be made fake. In reply to this, Lin shows her the hospital medical report and their marriage certificate. Seeing this evidence, Huan's mind begins to shake. Now she starts doubting her own memory. Lin gives her comfort. He says that right now her memories are mixed up, but slowly everything will become clear. He will always stay with her. Just then, Lin looks out of the window and sees that Yunjia is coming there. He makes an excuse that he needs to go to his room and rest for a while and goes outside. Lin immediately gets ready. He says with a smile that he will not let such a beautiful wife go outside alone and goes to the hospital with her himself. In the next scene, after reaching the hospital, Lin's eyes suddenly fall on Mo Xiao's men. As soon as he sees them, he immediately hides. On the other hand, Huan goes alone towards that old room where she was once treated. As soon as she reaches that room, the familiar atmosphere there wakes up her faded memories again. She feels as if someone is quietly taking her somewhere. The more she tries to remember, the more her head starts spinning faster. Darkness begins to spread in front of her eyes, and she is just about to stumble and fall. At that very moment, Lin reaches there and catches her before she can fall. But just then Huan's eyes fall on a paper held in his hand. It was exactly the same paper that she had seen in that man's hand in her faded memories. Seeing this, fear settles in her heart. She panics and immediately pushes Lin away from herself. Lin gives no explanation. He simply throws his coat over her and, in front of everyone, picks her up in his arms and takes her out of the hospital. Being in Lin's arms makes Huan extremely embarrassed and confused. She covers her whole face with the coat so that no one can recognize her. After that, Lin takes her to her old house, but he also has some important work of his own. That is why he sends Huan inside alone and goes away himself. On the other hand, Lin reaches a grand bar to meet Chengming. Chengming explains to him with a serious face that he should not let his feelings come in between his mission. He reminds him of how their parents died and how many hardships he had to face to reach where he is today. Therefore, now he should not forget his real purpose. Meanwhile, Huan sits quietly in her old house and starts reading her old diary. While reading the diary, she finds out that during her school days, she had a secret crush on one of her seniors. These faded memories start coming back in her mind again. She thinks that maybe through this she can find out the truth about Lin. When Lin comes back home, Huan deliberately calls him senior. Hearing this, Lin goes completely silent for a few moments. It seems as if this one word took him many years back into his past. On top of that, Huan very lovingly brings water for him. But as soon as Lin drinks that water, within just a few seconds, he starts feeling dizzy and falls unconscious. Huan immediately drags him to the bathroom. She ties his hands and feet tightly and repeatedly dips his head in the bathtub filled with water. Every time she holds him underwater for so long that he starts suffocating. When she pulls him out, she watches his reaction with a cold face as if she is testing the boundary between a person's life and death. Lin somehow survives. As soon as he catches his breath, he says that what Huan is doing is against the law. But Huan is not at all affected by his words. She says in a calm tone that she only wants to know whether a person can still lie even when death is in front of them. And the biggest question is whether she really took her own life. From the conversation of some nurses at the hospital, she had found out that during treatment she mysteriously disappeared from the hospital. This very thing creates doubt in her mind that maybe Lin was the one who pushed her off the rooftop. Lin answers all her questions very calmly. He says, "If you had died, then as your husband the first suspicion would fall on me. Would I create such a big problem for myself?" But Huan is still not satisfied. She asks if they were truly married. Then why did nobody know about their marriage? Lin answers that he kept all this hidden only for her safety. But his words create even more doubt. Coming in anger, Huan slaps him hard. Then she reminds him that on the very same day they registered their marriage, her parents also died. Saying this much, she places a knife on his neck and insists on him telling the truth. Finally, cornered from all sides, Lin accepts a part of the truth. He admits that in the beginning, he came close to Huan only because she was the only heir of the Lan He group, but gradually he truly fell in love with her. He also says that if he did not want to save her sinking company, he would never have gotten involved in this whole matter at all. But Huan still does not believe any of his words. Huan's doubt had now become even deeper. She felt that Lin was still hiding many big secrets from her. This time she decided to scare him even more. She tied a silky cloth over Lin's eye, tied his hands and feet tightly again, and tied him standing to the bathroom tap. After this, she began running the knife on his wrist so that he would feel as if his vein was being cut. In reality, this was only a mental torture. She wanted to see whether he would keep lying even with death's fear in front of him. But Huan did not stop here. She picked up Lin's phone and sent a message to Yunjia from his own phone. Her purpose was to find out Yunjia's location. Yunjia thought that Lin wanted to meet her, so without any doubt she immediately sent her location. After all the preparation was done, Huan also secretly put a tracker on Lin so that she could keep an eye on his every move going forward. After this, she took his car and left from there, leaving Lin behind. She assumed that he would die due to excessive blood loss. On the other hand, Yunjia happily runs to open the door. She was fully sure that Lin would be standing there, but the one standing at the door was Huan. Huan said clearly without any roundabout words that she wants to know the complete truth. Yunjia stayed silent. She refused to tell anything. Then Huan took out her phone and showed her the video in which Lin was struggling while drowning in the bathtub. As soon as she saw the video, Yunjia's face went pale. Meanwhile, Lin uses all his strength and breaks the ropes and frees himself. When he recovers and looks at his wrist, he finds out that his vein was not cut at all. On the other hand, Huan and Yunjia were standing face to face. Yunjia threatens in anger that if anything happens to Lin, she will never forgive Huan. At that very moment, Huan checks her tracker and sees that Lin has already freed himself. But before she could do anything, Zhao Shan suddenly comes from behind, grabs her throat, and holds her tight. Taking the opportunity, Yunjia snatches the phone from Huan's hand and quickly leaves from there to find Lin. Finally, everyone reaches a deserted and broken-down building. As Huan follows that car, a strange restlessness grows in her mind. A little while later, she realizes that this is the very place from where she was pushed off the rooftop 1 year ago. Old memories slowly start returning again. In the next scene, on the top floor of the building, Lin had grabbed Mo Xiao's collar and pushed him to the very edge of the rooftop. Lin says in a cold voice, "If you accidentally fall from here and die, then all your wealth and everything will become mine." Mo Xiao laughs hearing his words. He taunts, saying, "When you were gone for so many years, I had even got your grave prepared. Today you are standing alive. This itself is the biggest favor for you." Meanwhile, down below, Huan is slowly climbing the stairs. Just then, suddenly a man comes from behind, grabs her throat, and forcefully drags her to the other side. At that very moment, a loud sound of something falling comes from above. Hearing the sound, Lin runs downstairs without wasting a single moment. The man who had grabbed Huan was named Jian. He understands that Huan has lost her memory. He quickly tells her, "Stay as far away from the Lin family as you can. Go hide somewhere. I do not want to lose you again." Saying this much, he deliberately runs to the other side to draw everyone's attention towards himself, and Huan escapes from there safely. Huan goes and hides in a dark corner. While peeking through a crack in the wall, wall, she suddenly sees an old scene. She remembers her own form from 1 year ago. With trembling hands, she was holding her marriage certificate and wanted to bring Mo Xiao's real truth in front of everyone. With the help of her memories, she puts her hand inside that same crack and pulls out that very paper hidden there. She slowly cleans the blood on it so that the picture can be seen clearly. But just as she is about to look at the picture, from the other side of that same crack in the wall, Lin's eyes suddenly appear. Before Huan could understand anything, someone comes from behind and strikes her on the head. She immediately falls unconscious on the ground. Lin instantly defeats both the attackers, picks Huan up in his arms, and leaves from there. But in the hurry, he leaves that paper right there. When Huan opens her eyes, the man standing in front of her is the very same one whose photo she had seen on the marriage certificate. Mo Xiao. Meanwhile, Li Heng is just about to tell this to Yunjia. He knew very well that Yunjia still loves Lin one-sidedly. But hearing this, Yunjia picks up her shoe in anger and throws it towards Li Heng. After this, she goes directly to Mo Xiao and warns him. She says that right now the Lin group needs the Zhu family the most. If he makes any mistake, the entire plan can be ruined. Saying this much, she leaves from there with a cold face. As soon as she sits in the car, her mood gets even worse because she was continuously trying to contact Lin, but was not able to reach him. Just then her eyes fall on Jian. She immediately understands that all this is somehow connected to Huan. Meanwhile, in an unconscious state, Huan sees a dream. Slowly her memory starts coming back. She remembers that the very moment she fell from a height, at that same time there was a loud explosion in a car parked nearby. She was badly injured in that explosion. Huan suddenly wakes up in a panic. Now she was fully sure that it was Mo Xiao who had tried to kill her. But one question was still in her mind. Who exactly was the man living with her? What was his real identity? And what was his real purpose? To get the answer to these questions, Huan suddenly attacks Lin without warning. But Lin immediately grabs her hand and controls her in just a few moments. Now Huan asks him the truth. This time Lin hides nothing from her. He admits that his real name is Lin and he is Mo Xiao's younger brother. He clearly tells her that his purpose is to get back the Lin group. On the other hand, Huan also wants her Lanxia group back. At this time, both companies are under Mo Xiao's control. Lin says that he had hidden his identity so that Huan could slowly get used to the life of being the Lin family's daughter-in-law and later become his partner. But Huan is still not ready to trust him. Then Lin puts one more proof in front of her. He shows that Meng Meng is in his possession, meaning if Huan does not support him, Meng Meng could be in danger. Huan is forced to agree. But just then suddenly several armed attackers arrive there. They directly start shooting at both Lin and Huan. The situation becomes extremely dangerous. Now both of them have no choice left except to support each other. Both fight shoulder to shoulder. With excellent coordination, they defeat all the attackers one by one. After this fight, both officially become each other's partners. Now their goal was one: to take back everything from Mo Xiao. Sometime later, a grand engagement party of the Lin and Zhu families is arranged. The party is going on with full grandeur. Just then, suddenly Huan makes her entry there. Seeing her, everyone present there is left shocked. But an even more surprising thing happens when Mo Xiao makes an announcement in front of everyone. 2 years ago, Huan and I got married. He tells everyone that after the Lin family's accident, Huan also had an accident and she remained in a coma for a long time. Now she has come back. Hearing this, Huan is completely shocked. She cannot understand how Mo Xiao already knew that she was going to come to this party today. In reality, Mo Xiao had found out quite some time ago that Huan was alive, but her memory was gone. He comes to her in front of everyone and, pretending to be very happy, hugs her. But just then his eyes fall on Yunjia's parents, who are leaving the party in anger. To save his reputation, Mo Xiao immediately goes after them. On the other hand, Yunjia comes to Huan. With a sarcastic smile, she says, "At least for one thing, thank you. Because of you, this arranged marriage has broken." But her father hears these words. In anger, he slaps Yunjia hard in front of everyone. He scolds her, saying she lost such an important relationship for the Zhu family. As punishment, he orders her that from the very next day, she will start working for the Zhu family again. When Huan and Mo Xiao reached back home, Lin was already standing there. There was a fake smile on his face. He congratulated both of them and deliberately said that he was the one who brought Huan back. Hearing this, Huan immediately cuts off his words. She says clearly that Lin only saved her life. They do not even know each other. Lin pretends to accept her words, but at the same time he keeps making taunting remarks. Hearing his words, Huan gets angry and grabs Mo Xiao's hand and takes him upstairs to the room. Down near the swimming pool, Lin sits comfortably and starts eating cake, but his eyes remain fixed on that same room above. Meanwhile, as soon as Mo Xiao reaches the room, he starts asking Huan questions. He wants to know how Lin saved her life. Huan immediately makes up an excuse of a headache. She says she only vaguely remembers that when she was in a coma, someone was trying to take her somewhere. Apart from this, she does not remember anything. Then Mo Xiao asks her if she remembers the old days they spent together. But Huan escapes every question. She keeps changing the topic by repeatedly making the excuse of a headache. Mo Xiao acts very loving from the outside. He hugs her and promises that now he will never let any harm come to her. After this, he picks her up and puts her to bed. Just then his eyes fall on an old wound mark on Huan's foot. He tries to come even closer to her, but Huan immediately makes an excuse of cold and feeling unwell. Mo Xiao is forced to cover her with a blanket and goes out of the room. Down below, as soon as Lin sees him coming out of the room, a slight mysterious smile comes on his face. Meanwhile, in the room, Huan lying alone had many questions going around in her mind. Just then she remembers her mobile. She opens her phone and sees that she had talked to only one person before, whose name was saved only as Jade. She immediately sends a message and asks how Meng Meng is and how she ended up with Lin. A reply comes in a little while. Meng Meng is safe right now. For the time being, you can trust Lin. Reading this reply, Huan feels a little relieved, but all the questions in her mind still do not end. On the other side, Jia Shun makes noodles with his own hands for Yun Jia when she comes back. He asks her what happened after Huan came to the Lin family house. Yun Jia fills with anger. She says that now Huan has become the mistress of the Lin family. Because of her, even Jia Shun's status is no longer the same as before. But even so, Huan never looked at him properly. The anger stored inside for years finally comes out. She taunts Jia Shun, saying that if he had not helped her, his condition today would be worse than even a helpless person on the street. On the other hand, Mo Xiao's truly terrifying face comes in front. He calls some women to fulfill his dirty desire, but suddenly he starts having delusions that they are all making fun of him. The scary memories of his past come back in his mind again. He loses his temper. Like a madman, he whips a woman, ties a chain around her neck, and finally, in his rage, kills her. Meanwhile, Yun Jia gets even more angry seeing Jia Shun. She sees that Jia Shun is drinking heavily due to sadness over Huan. Not only that, he was also finishing off her most expensive bottles of alcohol. But this time Jia Shun does not back down. He suddenly pulls Yun Jia into his arms. Swept away in emotion, both come very close to each other and spend the whole night together. Next morning, Jia Shun quietly gets up. He puts on his clothes, applies medicine on the wound on Yun Jia's foot, and very carefully picks her up and drops her to her room. The relationship between both was still filled with pain, incomplete feelings, and confusion. Next day, when Huan woke up, she was shocked to see that Lin was lying beside her. She immediately became suspicious, because this was not part of their made plan. Lin calmly explained to her that Mo Xiao had started doubting her identity. If she made even a little mistake, Mo Xiao would kill her without thinking for a single moment. Therefore, to handle the situation, he had to do this. Next morning, Huan went to the kitchen to make breakfast, but she was not very used to cooking. While working, a food plate was just about to fall from her hand when Lin immediately stepped forward and caught it. He started teasing her with a smile, but just then Mo Xiao came there and the atmosphere changed in a moment. As soon as he saw that Huan had a slight injury on her hand, he immediately showed concern and took her upstairs to the room and started applying medicine on her hand himself. During this, he completely ignored Lin's taunting words. In between their conversation, Huan started asking about the condition of the Lan He group. Mo Xiao told her that he was still trying to manage the company, but so far he had not gotten the desired result. Seeing the opportunity, Huan said that she wants to go back to the company and handle the work. Mo Xiao immediately agreed, but he decided that he would go along with her himself so that he could keep an eye on her at all times. Both reached the company. At that time, the resort project was in its final stage. Mo Xiao was thinking to himself, making his intentions clear, that he would create such an atmosphere that Huan would on her own willingly hand over complete control of the company into his hands. That night when Huan came back home, she saw that Mo Xiao had prepared an extremely romantic dinner for her. He holds her hand and makes her stand up for a dance. Both dance together, and then he takes her upstairs to the room. At that very moment, Lin also comes back home. As soon as his eyes fall on Huan's things kept outside the room, Restlessness grows in his mind. He keeps standing downstairs looking continuously at that same room above. Meanwhile, inside the room, Huan remembers the things Lin had said. She keeps herself calm and behaves completely normal in front of Mo Xiao so that his doubt reduces. But just as the atmosphere between both of them starts becoming closer, suddenly the fire alarm goes off throughout the entire house. Within a few seconds, the sprinklers above turn on and water starts raining throughout the room. Both are forced to come out of the room. Mo Xiao immediately understands that all this was Lin's trick. His anger reaches the sky, but he cannot do anything. Next morning, he takes Huan to the company with him. In front of all employees, he officially announces that from now on Huan will handle the full responsibility of the Lan He group. Standing in front of all employees, Huan says in an emotional voice, "This company is my parents' lifelong hard work. I want to rebuild it. I need all your support." Some senior officers support her, but many people oppose her too. Their point was that Huan has neither sufficient experience nor the understanding to run the company. Hearing their words, Huan is not scared at all. She directly points towards the recently failed project. She tells them that continuous losses have worsened the condition of the company. After this, she announces that the resort project will be started again, and she will handle its responsibility herself. There was full confidence in her voice. She had no idea that Lin, sitting far away, was keeping an eye on the entire meeting. Sitting in his office, he was looking at the old family photo. He silently vowed that he would get back the resort project and also settle every injustice with Mo Xiao. At that very moment, Boston reminds him that in the last 2 years the Lin group has moved forward very fast. If an open bid happens for this project, it is almost certain that the Lin group will win it. But Huan was not among those who accept defeat. She got busy in the work with full strength. She started looking for every possible way through which the situation could be turned around. Along with this, she still had hope that after the plan is completed, Lin would keep his promise and let her meet Meng Meng one more time. In the evening when Huan's work was done, Lin was already waiting for her in the parking lot. Before this, Qin Yuan had already told him that they had bought a company which has the ability to compete with the Lin group. Their plan was to use that company's shares to connect Huan with them and gain control of the resort project land. As soon as Huan came, Lin handed over all the files of that company in yuan to her. Then he told her that he had bought 30% shares of that company in Huan's name. Huan listened carefully to his words and agreed to the partnership, but she also put her own condition. She clearly said that if this plan is successful, then 60% of the profit will go to her. Lin accepts her condition without much argument, but neither of them had any idea that from a car parked far away, Mo Xiao was keeping an eye on their every move. As soon as he saw both of them together, he immediately gave his men the order to start taking action. Sometime later, Qin Yuan tells Huan that their new company is now facing a heavy cash shortage. To solve this problem, he has set up a meeting with officials from 3 big banks. But those people had one condition. They wanted to meet Huan herself before making any decision. Huan understood that this opportunity was very important for her, so she decided without delay to go to that meeting. When she came back home, Mo Xiao was already waiting for her. He lovingly gave her a glass of water. But because of past experiences, Huan was no longer the same as before. She took only one small sip so that even if something was mixed in the water, its effect would be less. After this, Mo Xiao tells her that he will fully support her in this project. But hearing his sweet words, Huan gets even more confused. She cannot understand whether Mo Xiao is truly supporting her or is playing some new trick against her. Meanwhile, Lin, standing below, unknowingly sees both of them very close to each other. This scene pierces his heart. Without saying anything, he goes away from there and goes and sits alone in a crowded bar. But even there, his mind cannot find any peace at all. The same thought keeps going around in his mind again and again, that Huan is with Mo Xiao right now. On the other hand, Huan reaches to meet the 3 bank officials. To get the loan approved, she had to win their trust. They continuously insist on drinking alcohol with her. To save her company, Huan keeps drinking one glass after another. When almost all the discussions are settled, they demand that she drink the last glass. Although she had already reached her limit, still out of compulsion, she drinks the last glass too. A little while later, her entire body starts burning. She feels that something has gone wrong with her. She is taken to another room. Now her body is no longer in her control. At that very moment, she realizes that she has fallen into a very big danger. As soon as a man tries to force himself on her, Huan resists with all her strength. Although because of the intoxication and medicine her strength had almost run out, still she does not give up up and keeps trying with full effort. At that very moment, by coincidence, Lin is passing by from there. He hears some strange sounds from inside the room. In the beginning, an attempt is made to stop him, but as soon as he sees that Huan is being attacked, his anger bursts out. He storms inside the room like a hurricane. After this, whoever tries to touch Huan, Lin starts beating them mercilessly. He shows not even a little mercy to anyone. In just a few minutes, he defeats all those people badly. Seeing all this, Huan is completely shocked. For the first time, she gets to see such a dangerous and ruthless side of Lin. After this, Lin, without saying anything, throws his coat over her. Then he picks her up in his arms and takes her out from there. He brings her to a hotel. Very carefully, he makes her lie on the bed. He closes the curtains of the room and starts preparing to leave from there so that he can finish the remaining important work. But just then, Huan's eyes open. As soon as Huan's eyes opened, she was not fully in her senses. The effect of the medicine was still on her body. She got up stumbling and from behind hugged Lin tightly. At that time, her feelings were completely scattered. The effect of the medicine was so much that she had no control over herself at all. She kept clinging to Lin again and again as if at this moment he was her only support. Lin was also a human. In such closeness and those emotional conditions, it was not easy for him to control himself. For a few moments, he also started getting swept away in his feelings. But finally, he gained control over himself. He suppressed all his desires and instead of crossing any limit, immediately called a doctor so that Huan could be given medicine to counter the effect of the medicine. Next morning, Huan woke up in panic. She had faint memories of the previous night. Lin calmly explained the whole matter to her. He clearly said that he had done nothing wrong with her. He had only brought her to a safe place and was trying to save her life. After this, he said in a serious voice to Huan, "From now on, never put yourself in danger like this. If something happens to you, I will never be able to forgive myself." Meanwhile, Mo Xiao had already played a new trick. He had got some photos of Lin taken secretly from his men, in which he was carrying Huan in his arms into the hotel. After this, he deliberately spread the rumor that there is an illicit relationship between both of them. In no time, this news spread across the entire city. Its direct impact fell on the Lan He group. The company's shares started falling rapidly and people's trust started breaking. But Mo Xiao did not stop here. He kept getting new rumors spread continuously so that Huan and her company would be completely disgrace. Although from the outside he appeared very clever and calm, inside, his mental condition was continuously getting worse. He kept getting mental attacks again and again. To keep himself normal, he had to take medicines every day. Meanwhile, inside the company too, pressure kept increasing continuously. Boss Lee suggested that until the situation calms down, Huan should leave the position of CEO for some time. Many people in the company agreed with his words, but it was only Boss Chen who still trusted Huan. After listening to everyone's words, Huan said in a calm but firm voice, "Give me only 3 days. If I cannot fix everything in these 3 days, then I will leave the position of CEO on my own will." Saying this much, she leaves from there. To release all the stress stored inside her, she goes directly to the gym. She starts throwing continuous punches on the punching bag. Every punch was releasing her anger, pain, and helplessness. At that very moment, Lin also reaches there. Both stand face to face in the boxing ring. Huan fights him with full strength, but Lin was much stronger than her. Every time he knocks her down, still Huan does not give up. She keeps getting up again and starts fighting again. For her, this was not just a fight. It was an effort to keep herself strong. Finally, after continuous trying, she breaks down. Tears start coming from her eyes, but instead of comforting her, Lin tests her courage. He wanted to see whether Huan truly has the courage to fight till the end. Huan, without any hesitation, says, "I will never give up." Hearing these words of hers, a slight smile comes on Lin's face. He had gotten the very answer he was waiting for. After this, Huan sends a message to Jade. She writes, "If I cannot end this crisis within 3 days, I will leave Lanxia forever." But this was not just a message. After this, she immediately gets busy in taking action. She goes directly to Cheng Yuan. This time, she questions him strictly. She forces him to drink and keeps trying to get the truth out of him. Out of fear, Cheng Yuan keeps begging her for mercy again and again. But finally, under pressure, he speaks the truth. He admits that he is only a puppet working on someone else's instruction. The real player behind him is someone else. Lin, standing far away, was watching all this silently. Seeing this tremendous change that had come in Huan, satisfaction was clearly visible in his eyes. On the other hand, when Huan came back home, Mo Xiao was already waiting for her. He said while pretending to be disappointed, "You have completely destroyed my hopes. I waited a lot, but now my patience has given up. But this time Huan was not the scared girl she used to be. She replied, looking straight into his eyes without hesitation. Do not even dream of taking control of the resort project land. I will never let this happen. Seeing Huan's changed attitude, Mo Xiao remained completely calm. He said in a cold voice, only this much. Time waits for nobody. Saying this much, he went away from there. Meanwhile, Lin had gotten busy in playing his next move. He went directly to meet Yunjia. He had brought along an extremely expensive necklace with him. While giving that necklace to Yunjia, he said that if she helps him and gets an important project to the Lanxia group, then this would be the beginning of a deal for her. But Yunjia was not the one to agree so easily. She refused to take the necklace. Then she put a condition in front of Lin, which made the atmosphere between both of them suddenly very tense. At that very moment, Jia Shun standing outside was watching all this. Jealousy was clearly visible on his face. Inside, Lin went silent for a few moments. Seeing his silence, all the emotions stored inside Yunjia's heart for years started coming out. She reminds him of that bloody fighting ring in Thailand. She tells him that at that time, to save Lin's life, she had put everything at stake, only so that Lin could survive. Remembering that painful past, Lin also goes quiet for a few moments. He knew that Yunjia had made a very big sacrifice for him, but even so, he could never give her the kind of love she wanted. Finally, he asked Yunjia a direct question. First, ask yourself one question. Do you truly love me? Or are you tied to me only because of habit? Hearing these words of Lin, Yunjia went completely silent. She started searching for the answer in her own heart. Slowly, she started realizing that the feeling she had been considering love for so many years perhaps was not love at all. The truth was that the real place in her heart had always been for Jia Shun. It was for him that she had true feeling. But she had never been able to accept this truth herself. Next morning, Yunjia saw that Jia Shun had stood outside her room the entire night. Seeing this, all the confusion in her heart slowly started clearing up. Without saying anything, she held his hand and took him inside the room. It was like accepting the true feelings of her heart. On the other hand, after getting the help from Yunjia, Huan decided that as thanks she would give him 5% of the resort project's profit. But Yunjia clearly refused to take the share. Not only that, she deliberately created a misunderstanding in Huan's mind about Lin's and her relationship. Hearing her words, Huan became completely confused. That night, when Lin came to call her for dinner, Huan refused his offer in a cold manner. This changed behavior of hers left Lin completely shocked. He could not understand why such a big change had come in her attitude all of a sudden. Troubled, he went directly to Qinming. There he found out that Huan had, without telling anyone, gone alone to Thailand to sign an important contract. Hearing this, Lin's anger increased even more. Next day, by luck, both met in Thailand. Both were sitting in the same car and moving forward. A little while later, Lin started getting suspicious about the driver's behavior. He asked him some questions in conversation. The driver's nervous answers and strange behavior made him immediately understand that something was wrong. Without wasting a single moment, he grabbed the driver. On the other hand, Huan immediately tried to take control of the car's steering. But just then the driver suddenly pulled out a knife and attacked both of them. A tremendous struggle started inside the moving car. During the fight, the driver fell unconscious, but his foot was still pressed on the accelerator. The car started running out of control at high speed. Without a single moment's delay, Lin held Huan's hand and both jumped out of the moving car. Within just a few seconds, that car fell straight into deep water. Both their lives were saved, but Lin's entire body was covered with bruises and wounds. All around was a deserted area. No person, no help. Huan panicked. She could not understand what to do now, but Lin, without saying anything, held her hand. He took her on a calm path filled with sunlight and breeze, as if he wanted to only reduce her fear without any word. Meanwhile, as night fell, Jia Shun quietly started keeping an eye on Mo Xiao. Inside a deserted house, Mo Xiao was cutting a poisonous snake and preparing a deadly poison from it. His intention was clear. He wanted to finish off both Lin and Huan forever with that poison. There was a mad smile on his face. A little while later, his mental balance started deteriorating again. To keep himself in control, he immediately took his medicine. Jia Shun saw all this with his own eyes, but he thought it was better to quietly step back from there. On the other hand, in Thailand, Lin took Huan to a local market. He knew that Huan was hungry. He took her to eat fresh seafood. In between many days of running around in stress, both for the first time started feeling something like normal life for a little while. After this, Lin took her to a casino. He pawned Huan's necklace, took some chips, and started gambling. In the very first game, he won a big amount. Seeing this, Huan was shocked. Due to winning continuously many times, In just a short while they had gathered a good amount of money. But just then Lin felt that some people in the casino were looking at them with suspicious eyes. Without delay, he converted all the chips into cash money and immediately started leaving from there. As he had thought, exactly that happened. A little while later, several gangsters blocked their way. Lin immediately took all the money out of his pocket and threw it into the air. The crowd suddenly pounced on those gangsters to loot the money. Taking advantage of this chaos, he grabbed Huan's hand and both ran away from there. Running and running, both hid in a narrow alley. Now there was silence all around for a few moments. After so much running, Huan started feeling a little embarrassed, while Lin, as always, was not leaving any chance to tease her. A little while later, both bought new clothes and went out to roam the market. Lin took her to a shop where all kinds of fried insects were being sold. He deliberately gave Huan a fried dragonfly to eat. As soon as Huan saw it, she ran away from there out of fear. Seeing her run away in such a panic, Lin laughed out loud. After this, both bought many kinds of food. While roaming around, Huan's eyes fell on a game of throwing balls and winning a prize. She tried many times, but not a single aim was right. Then Lin threw the ball only once and hit the target directly. As a prize, he got a small keychain. He gave that keychain to Huan with a smile, but Huan made a face looking at it and said, "This is so ugly." Both then went and sat at a noodle shop. This time the atmosphere was a little more serious than before. For the first time, Lin started sharing the stories of his past. He said, "Everyone knows that I lived abroad for many years, but nobody ever asked why." He further tells her that after his father's death, Mo Xiao had chased him all the way to a foreign country. There he had to struggle every single day just to stay alive. Many times he had to fill his stomach with leftover food. After growing up, to earn money, he started fighting in the boxing ring. His whole life had been spent in pain, struggle, and just trying to stay alive. Hearing all this, Huan for the first time realized that Mo Xiao's cruelty was far more terrible than even her imagination. But the very next moment, Lin laughed. He said, "I was just joking. This whole story was fake." Then he teased Huan with a smile that she started feeling sorry for him so quickly. Huan immediately said, "Feeling sorry for a man is the beginning of trouble." Hearing her words, Lin just smiled. Then he took out a small cake from his bag. He lit a candle on it and placed the cake in front of Huan. He said, "Make one wish." Seeing this, Huan went completely silent for a few moments. She had not expected this kind of surprise at all. Slowly, she closed her eyes and made her wish silently in her heart. But their happiness could not last very long. Suddenly, Lin's eyes fell on some people far away. Those same casino gangsters had tracked them down and reached there. Lin, without wasting any time, grabbed Huan's hand and both started running again. Running and running, they got trapped in a narrow alley. At that very moment, two men came in front of them on motorcycles and blocked the way. Lin attacked with lightning speed. He kicked one man hard and knocked him down and snatched his motorcycle. On the other side, Huan also did not step back. She attacked the other man and knocked him down too. After this, she immediately sat on the motorcycle. Both rode away from there at high speed. In the darkness of night, the motorcycle was racing on long roads. Huan, sitting behind, was holding Lin tightly. A strange feeling had started developing between both of them. Fear was there, relief was there, and an unnamed attraction too. Just then, suddenly heavy rain started. To avoid the rain, Lin quickly rode the motorcycle and reached a small motel built on the side of the road. He did not have much money left. That is why he could rent only one room. He first sent Huan inside the room to bathe. He himself stood outside, keeping watch around. When Huan came out after bathing, she asked Lin to go inside. As soon as Lin started changing his clothes, Huan's eyes fell on the old and new wounds covering his entire body. His body had countless marks. Seeing them, Huan's previous cold behavior slowly started changing. She quietly started applying medicine on his wound. While applying medicine, she asked him one question. She wanted to know what his real thinking about women is. And most of all, what is the truth of his relationship with Yunjia? Hearing this question, the atmosphere of the room suddenly became very serious. Lin had understood the feelings hidden in her eye. On the other hand, Huan was fully trying that the beating of her heart and her emotions should not be visible to Lin. Huan was just about to leave after applying medicine when Lin grabbed her hand and stopped her. For years, both had been suppressing the feelings of their heart. But in that moment, all the distances between them slowly started disappearing. All the feelings that both had been hiding in their hearts for so long now started coming out. Finally, both could not keep control over their emotions. They took each other in their arms. That night, for the first time, both truly came very close to each other. All the walls standing between them slowly broke, and both, without saying anything, conveyed the feelings of their heart to each other. Next morning, the motel owner brought new clothes for Huan. Seeing this, Juan felt a little embarrassed. When she came down, Lin was already sitting downstairs, laughing and talking with the motel owner. A little while later, Juan came down wearing a traditional Thai dress. Seeing her, Lin went completely silent for a few moments. His eyes could not leave her. He was completely lost in her beauty. Smiling, he complimented her and jokingly said, "You look exactly like a local girl from here." After this, he lovingly placed a bowl of noodles in front of her. This was a small thing, but his complete care was clearly visible in it. At that very moment, a man came there and met Lin. He told him that the people who had chased them yesterday were members of an extremely dangerous underworld gang. Their job was to catch people and take them back. Entering their area without their permission was like putting one's life at risk. Hearing all this, not even a trace of fear came on Lin's face. He only looked at Juan once, gave a slight smile, and it seemed as if for him every danger in the world was small, as long as Juan was with him. That night, both returned back to China. As soon as they came back, Qinming came running to Lin and started asking about the Thailand trip. Lin kept looking at Juan again and telling through gestures, kept trying to explain, but Qinming could not understand his point at all. Finally, Juan herself came forward and said the trip was not that dangerous. Only the investment deal could not happen. She further told him that the other company is very powerful. If they get their support, fighting against the Lin group will become easier for them. Saying this much, she started leaving from there. Lin offered to drop her home, but Juan refused without any hesitation. Seeing this attitude of hers, even Qinming started getting suspicious about what was actually going on between the two. On the other hand, when Mo Xiao found out that both Lin and Juan had safely returned back, he became furious with rage. He immediately ordered his men that from now on every small and big move of both of them should be watched. In his anger, he started taking out all his rage on those girls who had been brought for his service. Meanwhile, Juan, sitting in her room, was also restless. She was feeling that if Mo Xiao himself now entered the field, he could go to any extreme. She was just about to send a message to Lin, but at the last moment she changed her mind. On the other hand, Lin was sitting alone in his room, deeply lost in thought, holding that same small keychain won in Thailand. Then he sent Juan some money from his secret account, Jade, and messaged asking how far their plan had moved forward. Juan replied, "The Thailand plan fell apart in the middle. Mo Xiao came in between and my phone also got lost." Reading this message, all the memories of Thailand came back fresh in front of Lin's eye. He remembered that night when Juan was in his arms. In that moment, he had felt the most genuine happiness of his life. For a little while, a wish arose in his mind that if only he and Juan could always stay together like this. But just then he received news that the next part of their plan had succeeded. Hearing this, he immediately went towards Juan's room. He quietly gave back her necklace to her, but Juan took the necklace with a cold face and, without saying anything, shut the door on his face. Lin left from there feeling disappointed. Meanwhile, inside the room, Juan, sitting alone, kept holding that heart-shaped necklace in her hand and kept looking at it. All the memories of Thailand started coming back in front of her one by one. In just one single day, both had together faced death, and in that very same journey, both had for the first time laid out all the feelings of their hearts in front of each other. Juan kept trying to convince herself that all this was just the effect of the circumstances, but her heart was not ready to accept her own words. She remained restless the whole night. She could not even sleep. That night, Juan lay restless on her bed. She kept telling herself again and again that whatever happened in Thailand was only the effect of the circumstances. But the more she tried to convince her heart, the more those memories kept troubling her. She could not sleep the whole night. A little while later, she came outside to close the door. But as soon as she opened the door, Lin was standing right in front. Looking straight into her eyes, he said, "Are you really going to pretend as if nothing happened between us?" Juan, hiding her feelings, replied in a calm voice, "We are both sensible people, and most importantly, I am your sister-in-law." Hearing this cold reply of hers, Lin could not control himself. He suddenly grabbed Juan's hand, pulled her towards himself, and kissed her on the lips. In the beginning, Juan tried to stop him. She tried her best to free herself, but a few moments later, all the feelings buried inside her heart started coming out. Slowly, she also stopped resisting. Finally, she also responded to Lin with the same love. Both once again completely drowned in their feeling. In that moment between them, there was no argument left, no distance, only the hidden love for each other and the desire to stay together. Next morning, Lin's eyes opened first. He kept quietly watching Juan sleeping for a little while. There was a peaceful smile on his face, but as soon as Juan woke up, the very first thing she did was tell Lin to leave from there immediately. She said Mo Xiao can come back at any time. Seeing this distance of hers, disappointment became clearly visible on Lin's face. Just then, Juan looked outside the window. Mo Xiao's car had come and stopped outside the house. Seeing this, she panicked. She started quickly coming out of the room, but Lin grabbed her hand. He wanted to kiss her one more time. Juan immediately pushed him back. Hope you guys like this drama. If you want next part, tell us in the comments.